Yes, so is Daled. Yeah. So the Shaila, the question he asked now is, why are there karbonis on Shabbos brought in the Beis Hamikdash? Why are we eating on Shabbos? We explained that the whole avodah of eating is the process of refinement, of beauty, of extracting the nitzutzik kedusha, the sparks of holiness. This isn't necessary on Shabbos. It's a taste of the perfect world. Shabbos is loy ra amal b'Yisrael. There's no toil. That's toil meaning the toil of elevating the world. This doesn't exist by a yid holding at the level of Yisrael, which is the level of Shabbos. Roish head. So the Havin to understand this, we first have to preface that which is known with respect to the Neshama's ascent. Even after leaving the body, he describes it, the imprisonment of the body. After death, the Neshama continues to ascend. Which of course, as the Pasuk says, they referring to tzaddikim, neshamas once they've been cleansed, all of us go from strength to strength, from power to power. So the neshama ascends bismanim kvuim miyuchodim, at established in special times. Tfilis, Shabbos, Yom Tov, Yortzeit, and other occasions. Even after the neshama has undergone the whole cleansing process, after having left the world, the purging, and the neshama is in Gan Eden Natachten, the lower Gan Eden, but the Gan Eden Elyon, and the neshama needs to ascend yet to a higher level, the upper Gan Eden. There are two levels within Gan Eden in paradise. And Proteus in more detail, they're not just two levels. In each category, the lower Gan Eden, the high Gan Eden, there are endless levels. The notion of endless is relative. Within a certain genre or category, it can be endless. And that's finite relative to all of it is finite, relative to a whole higher order of being, which is the point he's going to explain now. So for the neshama to ascend from Gan Eden Tachten to Gan Eden Elyon, and the Klolos Salim Gan Eden Tachten Gan Eden Elyon. So this ascent is happens in between Yeshna Inyan Hatvila Ben Har Dinur. Yeah. Neshama after 120 years is mentioned after having gone through the cleansing even. And it's already in Gan Eden Tachten, which is the general place of neshamas of our generation. In order to ascend to Gan Eden Elyon, which is special times. So the neshama has to immerse Tefillah Ben Har Dinur in the river of fire. Which the Zohar speaks of, and the Gemara speaks of. And what's the question? Why would this be necessary? The Gemara says a chagiga. The Gemara offers their various answers, reconciling on the one hand, the pasuk gives a number to the angels, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. And another pasuk, it indicates that the angels are limitless in number. The Gemara offers various solutions. One of them is different categories of malachim. Now the ones that are described with the elef alofim, thousands and tens of thousands, serve me, that pasuk. So the Gemara says they come from Nahar Dinur Nafik V'Nafak, a river of fire that flows and comes from him. The Gemara says, from where did they come? Where does what come? This river of fire. Mizayos and Shalchai is from literally the perspiration of the Malachim. see the Gemara inside, but that reconciles that contradiction. It's not the point of the Maimah here. The point of the Maimah here is that the river of fire comes from, this is an excess, the perspiration, that which is the body expels, of the malachim, the chayas. The Gemara continues to leichon shofich, and where are they poured? Where is it poured, this river of fire? It brings a pasuk al reish shoyim yochel, on the heads of the wicked does it fall. What's the problem? Luchet in the moving cloud. How we just finished saying that the river of fire separates the lower Gan Eden and the upper Gan Eden. So therefore we're puzzled, the Shaykh into the Hardinur, how is it that this river, which is positioned between these two levels of paradise of Gan Eden, should what? Al Reish Shoyim Yochel fall upon the heads of the wicked. The Neshama is already in Gan Eden Atachten. And this river is in order to effect the cleansing to go to Gan Eden Elyon. And this river is then poured upon the Rishoyim, the wicked, who haven't gotten to Gan Eden Atachten yet. So how is this so? And the answer is, what the matter is as follows: there are actually two rivers of fire, two kinds of purging. There's the lower river of fire, that's the one we referred to at the outset here. After the neshama has left the body, they have beautiful Gehenna. And after the neshama has been refined in purgatory and Gehenna, so that's not enough. So the process of Gehenna will allow the neshama to be in the lower Gan Eden. But then there's another immersion that's required in the river of fire, and after that, I'm sorry. No, that's the next step, the higher one. So this is, leaving the body, cleansing, then river of fire, and then Gan Eden Atach. And this lower river of fire, I was mixed with the higher one, is then allows the neshama to enter the lower Gan Eden. And that's what the Gemara Chagiga is talking about. But in addition to this is the river of fire, between the lower Gan Eden and the higher Gan Eden. And also, the Zohar speaks about an Omad, poured in Tanya and Chassidus, in my Maamar Mabos Sedagani. The Omad, a pillar that the neshama sends from the lower Gan Eden to the higher Gan Eden, between the two Gan Edens, that the neshama has to negotiate. Explained in Tera'ir on the pasuk referring to Esther, to Achashverosh and the girls that they approached him. They had to approach with a whole preparation. That's reflective and describes be'emes the neshama's ascent from Elam Hazeh into Gan Eden Atach. But then this pasuk is the ascent from Gan Eden Atachten to Gan Eden Elyon. So conclusion is two rivers of fire. There's the river of fire that needs more detail coming about this soon, to cleanse the neshama after having left the body, even after Gehenna. Then there's a river of fire between Gan Eden Elyon and Gan Eden Atachna. This is helping us understand. You see where we're going with here. So there's a need of a cleansing of some kind, even Kedusha itself was explaining why there's Karbonis on Shabbos and why there's that way of eating, the Sunnah of Shabbos. This is analogous to going from Gan Eden Atach and Gan Eden Elyon, which are both holy worlds. And as he said in the end of the previous ois, Shabbos is really a beer of oichel mitech oichel, food from food. Both are good, but one is yet a higher level. He's going to explain and why the need for the river of fire between. But the matter is as follows. I get a description here of what awaits us. Mind you, Mashiach comes today, so this cleansing will happen, I guess, in a different way. Although it says that every neshama, every person has to die. Everybody has to fulfill Bala'af Tashuv to return to earth. Baal Shem Tov said, Eliyahu was the only exception. Baal Shem Tov said before his Istalkus that he could leave the world like Eliyahu in a stormy chariot, the Guf. the guf. But he says he wants to fulfill h'tshk, return to earth. The Rebbe said, I don't know if it's from the Rebbe he's quoting earlier, I think it's the Rebbe's own revelation, that doesn't have to happen either, literally death. Speaking about Mashiach's imminent arrival, so what about h'tshk? So that's the idea of bittul, my soul, my soul is like earth before all. So through the penetrating and true, sincere avodah of bittul, we can achieve this as well. Or once he also said, can happen for a moment, mamash. The death is mamash, a moment, and then immediately followed by tchiyas hamesim. We'll see. I guess it will be different for different people. God knows Jews have been yotzei death, literal death, and being reduced to ashes in the earth. Now, the ascent of the neshama from this world down here, having descended, paraphrasing the Gemara here, also chagigah, from a lofty roof to a deep pit. Now, the fact that the neshama has been bound up with the physicality and corporeality, did I pronounce that right? Of the boss of the flesh of the body, this is even a tzaddik. The frat, and especially not a tzaddik. If he sinned, that means an intentionally a pogam and he blemished ba'ovar and transgressed the saderech, the way hepech rotzen elyon, contrary to the supernal will, achein tzarech liyas hayish the Gehenna. Neshama's got to be cleansed in the fires of Gehenna. This is just like physical fire down here, which is why that language is employed. In fact, physical fire comes from it. That fire purges the stains from garments. So to the fire of Gehenna, it's a very spiritual fire. Dak means literally thin. It means ethereal, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Huh? Yeah. And spiritual, so this fire, and explains it why fire, because it removes the stains that were created by foreign fires. There's two kinds of Gehenim. Chacham speak of the Gehenim of fire, the Gehenim of shelig, of snow. That's where they have got it from. This imagery is from Chazal. And it means that those sins that were done out of passion and lust and anger, for example, so they're cleansed with fire. Sins were done because of icy indifference and uncaring and being cold. So that's the Gehenim of shelig, of snow, of ice. So beruchnius, physical imagery to describe a ruchnistic state, and it's all the neshama's embarrassment, shame. It's just facing itself. Neshama doesn't go anywhere; it just faces itself, and that's, they quote a famous song, that could be heaven or that could be hell. It's both, ultimately. It's initially hell because Gabal, I did this, I said this, I thought this. So it goes through the self-cleansing. It's all self-scripted. And then it's cleansed. He continues more detail. What's the age of the foreign fires? He's paraphrasing here. A lot of an Navi brought a foreign fire that Hashem didn't ask. It was a whole different order. What is it? This is being warm, the warmth, the enthusiasm. Binyanim, those things that are not godly. If you do as it's known, it's a chiddush of chassidus a little bit. Shinya Gehenna, not so much, but a little bit. The Gehenna me'ina betur oynish buvat chas v'shalom. Gehenna is not simply punishment. You sinned, so suffer. Chas v'shalom. He says chas v'shalom. Hashem wants you to suffer, even if you sin. He should suffer. It's a bigger rachmanis in it. So the Kivim Shat Torah is chesed. No, it's because the Torah of chesed. That the punishments are chesed, it's cleansing. If you shinyonim b'lahasin saksomim, it's in order to remove the stain, like a toothache. It's punishment. It's a means by which we're going to fix it. It hurts, so we're going to clean it. And the cleansing process could hurt, but it's not a punishment, it's a cleansing. The hands of a very good dentist, right? It doesn't hurt. It just occurs to me, but it's true. I mean, now that we have anesthesia, so all these things, these processes used to hurt once upon a time, don't hurt so much. The reason the pneumius is because sins ain't what they used to be. We're not that deeply involved. It's just stupidity and distraction. In the old days, a person sinned, he went all the way, and for that matter, he did mitzvahs. Their righteousness is beyond us, and their sin is really beyond our ken. We're shallower souls externally, which means with pneumius, with the foot soldier, we're the ones that, in the end, achieve victory and bring Mashiach. But we're just not. You read the stories of Tanakh, it's hard to relate to those stories. And the people do such things, the violence and the intensity, they were much higher in the shamas. So pain today is not what it used to be. It doesn't have to be. Mitigated. And pleasure for that matter too. All right? So this is what Genin. We haven't gotten to the river of fire yet. Even after cleansing all of the stains, and the neshama faces itself. I did this, I said that, and eventually cleanses. Already takes whatever it is. It can take up to a year for the shoyim, 11 months. Others it can take a few weeks, a few months. Rabbi Hashab said the average person, average from a yid, the average from, imagine you feel this once. The average from a yid, how long is Gehenim? I think he said it was 3 or 4 months, maybe even less. Eventually he regrets all the stupid things that the person did. The sinners longer, then there's people that we know that the Rabbi said there was a whiff of Gehenim, the day, the regrets went that profound, they lived godly lives, they were sinning. And even after having gone through that, so why do we need this river of fire? Because at this point, there's no sins anymore. That's taken care of, that cleansing, that embarrassment, that hell of fire and hell of snow has been experienced. So what's left? What's left is, the fact is that there's the gases and the chumri. Gases means the coarseness and the corporeality that the neshama has acquired. No sin here, but he's just eating, and there's the physical enjoyment of that. He's into it. It's not a bad thing, but he's enjoying his steak. Like his eating and drinking. There's no sin involved here, God forbid. And moreover, he's not even into it like it's, doesn't know what's going on around him. He's so into his food. Not even talking about that level of indulgence, but rather, he's eating stam. He got to eat in order to be alive. But he's doing it, it's not with a godly consciousness. And there's the pleasure to whatever degree of intensity, the desire. So therefore, so this causes a gasas and a chumris, a coarseness that's got to be burnt away from the neshama, a crusty kind of veneer. And we're not till now we're talking about someone into it, especially if he's really into it. How do you know he's into it? Take it away. See how he protests, or if it's not there, see how upset he is. Not exactly to his liking. You can't tell until it's taken away. It's like the perfect gentleman eating his meal. You try and take it away and see what happens. So that's the Naharat in. Moreover, not finished. He did that. The just coming into the body, he says. Forget about the food and drink and all of these physical engagements which involve taiva to one degree or another, if it's not l'shem shamayim mamish. Just coming into the guf. Nasa filu v'aneshama in shel akshama v'chumriyas. This causes a certain akshama. Akshama means a certain meaning of physicality. See, we're talking. Akshama has left the body. There's no gashmius, but akshama is certain. Insensitivity, the chumrius, and the greater degree even. Compared to the neshama before, was invested in the body. We have to remember that the neshama is fused with the body. It's fused. It's not. There's nothing example in life like it, like life. The body's not a machine that's animated by the neshama, and the body's alive. So it's the most intimate relationship. It fuses with it. When the neshama leaves, it takes with it this intimate relationship has become part of it. Now, the good property of it, that's the ultimate aliyah. But there's the akshama property of it that needs to be removed, needs to be purged. Shalochin, therefore, I feel about so just being in the body, its grasp of godliness, it doesn't have the clarity now because it's in the body and it takes the body's imprint with her. So it doesn't have the clarity as it was. You did the Baguk before the Neshama came down, about that matzah before the Neshama came down to the body. The Navi says, describing the Neshama, Chai Hashem Elokei Yisrael, the living God, the living God of Israel, Shamadati Lafana, before whom I stood. That Chassidus says is referring, Leo speaking. That's referring to the neshama before it comes down to the guf. The dik by is I stood. There's no real aliyas there. It's all stationary. Even though the neshama sends, there's no challenges. There's no avodah. But you stood. You were there. Their meaning, whatever level you were, there was grasp in godly matters, completely different way the neshama could possibly understand coming from the guf. It's got to be purged. That's after Gehenna. It's got to go into the Nahar Dinur. When the Neshama came down, as opposed to a Madati Lefonov, when it comes down into the Guf and Gas. You understand? Asoga Likis, the Neshama. We're learning Chassidus, the Neshama is engaged. But the understanding is very close. Well, by the Inyonim Gashmi, we can only access this through physical matters and Besholim, Makbolishim, with all the limitations of the Inyonim Gashmi. The more refined, so the more refined our examples are, understanding are, but it's still, at the end of the day, bound and tethered to this world. So Neshama, this is the lower river, river of fire. Which the Gemara told us, Sheyotzem is a yosen shel achayis that comes from the perspiration of the chayis. It's all symbolic and spiritual of the malach. What does this mean? He can explain it. Let's see. Can't wait. What's the marshal to explain the zay of the chayas? When a person is very excited about something in Yiddish, he's all literally cooked up in something until in Yiddish he himself becomes burned, being in Mesuyim in a certain matter. So the person is very excited about something, in other words. And because of the great enthusiasm and fire, which is flame and fire, Nasa Etzlai, in this matzav that he is, what happens? Nasa Etzlai, he snagdus bekitrug, you become very belligerent, is that the term? You'll oppose, and kitrug, actually critical. Anything that gets in the way of its excitement right now is intolerant and will oppose it when he's in this state of excitement. and enthusiasm. So this explains what is meant now by the word, the zeya of the chayis. Let's see. Likewise, the malachim lebavshem means behem nema, describing that avodah the pasuk says v'chayis the rotze v'shuv. So the angels are going out and returning in this constant longing and then return, reflecting the expansion and contraction of the heart. So that's the matzav, also kocht, in the praise of Hashem. So what happens? In the mizay osan shalachai is the perspiration, meaning she's absolutely shemishtal shemavidos and v'shuv. So this is this means the what? What do we call it? Another word. The waste that there's mishtal shemavidosam that comes from their avodah all the way down the line. Let's read the words. That's what he's saying. Rotz v'shuv in the avodah rotz v'shuv nimshach lamatim into the heart of nur. This is what creates. Okay, I understand it now. This is what creates this river of fire. What is river of fire? This is the opposition and rejection we have to anything which is not this. So this is the opposition and the accusation that falls, quoting the Gemara before, that falls upon the head of the wicked. Meaning, let's read the words at the end and we'll conclude, we'll try and understand. He's already gone through Gehenna. But we explained before there's a need to go to the river of fire for the reasons we explained earlier, just simply by being in the guf, and then certainly by engaging in bodily things, not the Shem Shemayim. So there's the Nahardinu, Al-Shanikar Rasha. So what's the wickedness here? The sins are over. That was cleansed already in Gehenna. So why they're called wicked? Because we're dealing still here with the coarseness. The crust, what were the residue of the permissible things that the person did, but not in a godly way. It's also called wickedness. The word Rashi actually means to veer from the right path. That's what the word Rashi means, to veer. Actually, it means also exceeding, meaning going off the proper path. The netiyah from the right path, which is v'shomru derech Hashem la'asis tzedakah and mishpat. The path is to do tzedakah and mishpat, and the person veered from that, getting involved in one degree or another in materialism. That even though it's permissible, he was still not engaged in the way that he was elevated. He was engaged in it. He wasn't with the Shem Shemayim. He was doing it because he's hungry. It's this that has to be removed by the immersion in the river of fire. Quoting here from the Zohar, that a person should forget the imagery of the world that prevents him from absorbing and understanding God in it. That's got to be burnt away. So what's the connection to the Zohar of the Malachim? That is, the Malachim are expressing the truth of the Eibishter and the desire and longing for him. And the result of that is you don't get this. You're opposing this. Look at you. You come here with your attachments to Ilam Hazeh. That's the rejection, the psoilus, and that's the fire. It's all symbolic language. So in other words, you're coming to the world of truth, and the world of truth is like, hello, what do you do? You're bringing this here. You're disturbing us. You're what's the word? Better words. You're sullying the place, and corrupting it. And that's the Malachim is rejection, the psoilus. It's not their avodah. Their avodah is rotz v'shuv. But this is the glance at the neshama, as it were. This, you, what are you doing here? So that's the cleansing, the ha'adanud, the neshama verses. Yeah.